I'm sorry, I'm still blown away by that.
What's the official beer of Coronation Street?
I don't think there is one. Hi guys, it's Jim here from Dr. Tankenstein with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. On today's episode, we are drinking a beer that I wrote off entirely on first glance. Today we're drinking Shelby by Thornbridge. Now, I'll set the scene for you. I'm walking through Aldi, doing some shopping, vegetables, whatever, and I walk past a Peaky Blinders beer. Okay? I frown, I roll my eyes, I carry on walking until I notice that that beer is proudly brewed by Thornbridge. So I had to get some, but before I tried it, I thought, Jim, you're too invested in this. You're much too cynical for your own good. You need Thornbridge's biggest fan to help you really make sense of this beer. So, I have Sophie here with us, guys.
Can't keep me away.
Sophie, by far the biggest hitter on Beers of the British Isles.
Can I say?
I would say
me beer.
You may have more views on Beers of the British Isles than I do. Weirdly.
Take that, Dr. Tankenstein.
Take that, Dr. Tankenstein. Okay, so Sophie, I guess congratulations are in order. Are you excited? Thornbridge are brewing the official beer of the Peaky Blinders TV show.
Peaky Blinders TV show. Never seen it.
No, I know you've not. What?
I'm pleased that there's another Thornbridge beer.
Yes.
I'm always pleased there's another Thornbridge beer, and pleased to see it's neither a sour nor a wheat beer. IPAs.
Some people do like sours and beers. All right, so I guess I was kind of joking up front there. I did walk past it. I did roll my eyes at the thought of a Peaky Blinders beer.
I can picture you doing that.
But then when I saw that, proudly on the front here, it's Thornbridge and Thornbridge and Thornbridge and Thornbridge everywhere. What do you think of this? To me, it seems faddy, but obviously I'm much more cynical than you are.
I don't quite understand it because I think it's so far from the Thornbridge brand.
It is, isn't it?
Where we are in Sheffield, obviously Thornbridge is quite big.
Yeah.
And there's an awful lot of old man pubs. And when I say old man pubs, I mean the best kind of pubs.
Kind of pubs that we have.
It's very far from that kind of faddy young market. I can picture it from Brewdog. I can't picture it from Thornbridge.
Shots fired. Okay, yeah, I think we're on the same page here. It seems fatty. It kind of stinks of a cash cow to me. But, I mean, to be fair to Thornbridge, it does look like a Thornbridge beer. Other than having whatever the guy's name is, Thomas Shelby, I guess, is the character's name.
Shelby. I think the clue's on the bottle in front of you.
Other than having Mr. Shelby on the front there, it's very much Thornbridge in nature. So, I mean, I guess, could this just be that Thornbridge have made a good beer and
I wonder whether
Peaky Blinders have jumped on it?
Obviously, it's a difficult time for craft brewers. Craft brewing is growing hugely, but there's an awful lot of different companies in the market.
Well, Soph,
maybe the investment is.
You say this now. You say it's a difficult time, but this beer was established in 1919.
1919.
So, I mean, this is the oldest
Jesus,
beer
they've
we're
kept it hidden well.
I know. No cobwebs or anything. Okay, so I guess we're both sort of on the same page here. It looks like a Thornbridge. It smells like a cash cow. Should we just open it up and see what it tastes like?
I'm very excited to see.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, we're all poured in. We're both poured in. We got ourselves a nice cold glass of Shelby, the oldest beer in town.
Glass of Shelby.
Okay, so this is This is a 5% on the nose, dead 5% IPA. I'm guessing it's an English pale ale because it's available on cask as well.
Is it? Is it just?
Yeah, okay. Thornbridge on cask is always a beautiful
always
thing.
A good one.
I haven't seen it on cask, but I have recently seen this everywhere.
I've seen it everywhere.
It's been a few days since I bought this. I'm past my ire on this one, but it does seem to be cropping up. I haven't seen it on cask anywhere.
It's either a great thing or a terrible thing. They either released it and no one wanted to buy it, or they released it and it was so popular they released more.
Well, it's been out for a while. We'll discuss that in a bit. But like I say, probably an English IPA because it's available on cask. And Thornbridge do IPAs very well. So in all likelihood, it's going to be very good. As I say, 5%. Don't know the IBUs, but we've got Fuggles and Brambling Cross hops. Woo! Fuggles, lovely. I love Fuggles. I know you all don't. I love Fuggles. Brambling Cross, kind of a forgotten hop.
I was going to say, that's a new one to me. Never heard of that. I don't know where they've dug that up
The weird thing about Brambling Cross is...
From 1919,
From
maybe.
1919, of course, yeah. They kept it. This is the last batch. Now, the Brambling Cross is a traditional English hop, and when they write it down, they put Brambling X.
Oh, okay. Cool. Hashtag Brambling X.
Hashtag Brambling X. Coin it. Right, so we got Fuggles, Brambling Cross. We got low colour Maris Otter, which doesn't seem to have translated all that well to this. Munich and Crystal. So this is really shaping up to be quite a nice English pale ale, really.
It looks great. Look at those bubbles rising.
It does look great, doesn't it?
Look at those bubbles rising. That's well carbonated, at least.
Guys, this is why I've got Sophie here for this one, because I'm still so just wound up by this whole Peaky Blinders thing that I need Sophie to be the voice of reason here. I picked this beer up to slag it off, but it actually looks very good.
It does. It looks fantastic.
It looks very good. Even yours, you didn't even spill when you when you poured it.
Foolproof.
So what we've got here, if you guys can't see, is a crystal clear, deep amber coloured beer. So it's the colour of amber rather than sort of
light amber. I'd say light amber.
You would say light amber?
I wouldn't say it's too dark.
Okay, well, let's call the whole thing off. Light amber, a decent head. Like I say, these glasses aren't perfect. Good carbonation by the looks of it. What have we got on the nose? Not a lot.
That's quite bitter on the nose, though.
Yeah, so Fuggles typically is sort of a floral, spicy in terms of like lavendery hop. But you're not getting much
a lot
of that.
No, not a lot of that at all.
Brambling Cross will just have been used for bittering, if I'm honest. It's not really... Brambling X, hashtag Brambling X. We'll have just been used for that. So should we dig in?
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm interested to hear your honest opinion. Having gone into this ready to slag it off.
Go on, you do you think?
I think that's delicious. I think that's really nice. I think that is very lagery for an IPA. Really lagery for an IPA. It is. Okay. It's well carbonated. It's not particularly hoppy.
It's well carbonated, right? So, what I'm getting here, the brewer side of me, I mean, it always happens, man. I'm always so skeptical of things up front. And that's why I buy them, because I know that I'm wrong and I'm just a big old stick in the mud.
Grumpy old man.
I think this is a nice English IPA. You've got to bear in mind that it is an English IPA. It's not going to blow your nose off with all the hops that are in there. Classic Maris Otter, classic Thornbridge Maris Otter malt profile. I feel like they've gone heavy on the Munich malt because it's very bready. It's very, I wouldn't say biscuity because it's not so sweet, but it's got a real sort of bread and almost a toasty underlayer, would you say?
What I'll say, it is quite toasty. I'd say that is a really refreshing change to an awful lot of the IPAs that are coming out at the minute, because at 5%, it's not too strong. I think at the moment there's an awful lot of new IPAs that are delicious coming out, but like 7-8% mark. Yeah. It's nice to see something drinkable.
But also, it's an interesting point you brought up there, and it's probably the whole format of the videos thrown off here, but it is interesting that you say that, because I feel like IPA has done a complete loop. It's gone, a few years ago, American IPAs came out. So Jaipur, for example, came out 2005, whatever it was. And then things just got hoppier and hoppier and hoppier. And then they got juicier and juicier and juicier.
Juicy
and
IPA.
Hazy and hazy.
A juicy hazy IPA.
And then,
a super hoppy juicy hazy
and
IPA.
then for a second, things got dry with Brut IPA. And then it kept getting juicier and juicier and juicier. I feel like English IPAs are back in the zeitgeist.
I'm interested you'd say that because I haven't seen many English IPAs around. Maybe I've not been looking.
Oh, you will. Well, I think it's because cask is making a big resurgence.
Yeah, I guess so.
Says me, I'm no way.
I'd be interested to try this on cask. I think it would be a very different experience.
Me
on
too.
Cask.
I think that this on cask would be great. So just sum this up then. So the hops really aren't coming through at all. There's kind of a balanced bitterness to it. So it's not too much. I mean, English hops in general aren't very high alpha acids, so there's not a huge bittering profile. But it's all in the malt for this. The bready malt character and the subtle sweetness that rounds that off makes it a real nice drink. The carbonation in this is kind of understated, but it's obvious. Like you say, on cask, I think it would be a very different drink.
I think it would. It's very crisp, is what I'll say for it. Crisp is the word I'd use to describe it.
Is the word. Right, we've covered Thornbridge, not to death, but we've definitely covered Thornbridge on this before.
Fair amount.
My glamorous assistant here, Sophie, was on a Thornbridge video, so maybe go check that out if you want the history of Thornbridge. So instead, I thought I would spend a little time on this video to focus on Peaky Blinders, because clearly Peaky Blinders is at the forefront of this beer. It is
the official beer of the TV series.
And isn't that insane? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm still blown away by that.
What's the official beer of Coronation Street?
I don't think there is one. And this is to me a very strange thing. Right, so Peaky Blinders, it's a TV show. You've never watched it, so
despite I think you have. You've been keen for me to watch it.
I've been keen for you to watch it.
I'm very. I feel that gangster films should be focused on a certain place and era, and that's Italy. I think that gangster TV shows in Birmingham kind of lose an awful lot of the glamour.
Well, there were gangsters in Birmingham, you know.
Sure there still are.
Right. So if you go straight then. So you've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
Do you know what you clearly know what it's about?
I know what it's about. I've seen one episode. It was very wasn't very PG, if I remember rightly.
In what way? Language?
Oh no. Well, language and a couple of other areas.
Right.
Very attractive women in it though.
Very attractive women. Okay. I remember one woman being a blonde, blue-eyed. It wasn't Sophie. Maybe it made it sound like it was Sophie, but. So it's set in Birmingham. Birmingham gangsters, I guess, working for the Shelby company. Thomas Shelby here, I think it's Thomas, played by Cillian Murphy. And he's the head of the household or whatever. One thing you will notice if you do watch Peaky Blinders is they have the worst Birmingham accents of anyone on TV, I think.
Yeah.
So could you, if I asked you to do a Birmingham accent, could you...
I do one accent and one accent only.
It's probably a Birmingham one, right?
It's Scottish, unfortunately. I could do...
Are you going to...
You want me to do... What would you like me to say?
Say, this is a great beer. Perfect Scottish accent.
Close.
Perfect Scottish.
I really, really apologise to anyone north of the
from Scotland
boundary.
Okay, so Peaky Blinders, it's gangsters in Birmingham, the Shelby company, who apparently brew this beer in 1919.
Okay.
I liked it, and I did watch the first two series, and then I stopped watching it. How many series do you think there are now?
Is it American or is it English?
It's English, but it's famous in America.
Okay. I'm gonna go for 6.
Yeah, 6.
Is there?
Yeah. Well,
really?
Series 6.
And magic.
Series 6 is in talks.
What can I say?
I think Series 6 is in the can and it's in talks. It's a Series 6, set in Birmingham. Worst Brummie accents you've ever heard. Do you know where the name comes from?
I'd like to say, though, if we do have anyone from Birmingham watching, can we just have a note in the comments about whether this is true? Jim has been to Birmingham once and once
Sophie,
only.
there are 4 people watching. Everybody all like.
Let us know whether you think it's a bad Birmingham accent.
They'll tell you. Oh, you need to watch it. It's terrible. It's so bad. Right, so do you know where the name comes from?
Shelby? Or Peaky Blinders?
Peaky Blinders.
Or is it to do with a hat?
Yeah.
Is it?
You seem to know a lot about this show without having seen it.
Oh, I'm quite impressed.
I mean, I'm not saying that I wanted this to be an embarrassing segment, but I thought you would get a lot more wrong than this. Go on. So, a hat, go on.
It's a hat that covers your eyes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Peaky Blinders apparently, and this was a real. It's based around a real gang in Birmingham.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders were, like I say, 1919. Shelby Company, when this beer was founded, apparently, they would have razor blades in the peaks of their hat, and so
sounds dangerous.
And so, if they, gangsters, it's a G life, you know. And what they would do is, if you crossed them or owed them money or whatever it was, maybe you slept with one of those beautiful ladies you were talking about earlier, they would take their hat off and swipe your eyes out with it. So they would blind you with the peak.
Okay. Well, I'm curious now as to what style of hat would it be like?
It's like a flat cap.
Flat. Okay.
It's very.
So I'm thinking, is it like a beanie or like a all-round?
Well, this is the thing, right? I feel like you could hide it very well. You could hide the little razor blade very well, but in the TV show, I feel like that was too subtle. So they all just walk around with like razor blades sticking out their hats, and you can definitely tell. Like, if I owed them money, I'd be like, okay, I owe the Peaky Blinders money.
Got a razor blade.
That's where he's going next. He's gonna hit me with that hat.
Is that less illegal than shooting someone with a gun?
It was 1919, so it was a very
yeah.
different time. You know, I mean, they were brewing this beer, they were blinding people, they were doing all sorts of shit.
One too many of these and you make all kinds of decisions.
Exactly.
We've all been there that time on a Saturday night where you've decided to stick razor blades in your hat and it's going to be the new invention.
Have we all been there? Okay.
You're not yet. You've not had enough of these yet.
Right, I mean, safe to say, I was a Peaky Blinders fan, I'm not so much anymore. You never have been.
I wouldn't say not a fan.
Good friend of mine, good friend of the channel, Gary from Real Tours. He does a tour of Liverpool, and there is a Peaky Blinders section because it's actually filmed in Liverpool.
It's fantastic. It's a really
great
good tour.
Tours. There's a Peaky Blinders section on that tour. So if you're in Liverpool and you like Peaky Blinders, definitely give Gary a shout. He's very knowledgeable on this. It's quite a funny story about the estate where it's shot on, actually, which I won't give away because it's part of the tour. But right, so I think that what we're suffering from here is we're simply not fans of the show. So, what I wanted to ask you was, if you could brew a beer, if you could be the official beer of a different fictional character other than Thomas Shelby, who would it be? And what style of beer would it be?
That's a very good question. Because I would say that my biggest criticism of this, even having not watched Peaky Blinders, is that this is a very generic beer. I'm sorry, it is. It's delicious.
I thought
really
the same thing,
nice.
though. I thought the same thing.
I would get that, you know, if you were going to name a beer out after someone, there's going to be something about that beer and something about that person.
This isn't coming from me. This is coming from Thornbridge's biggest fan. What I wanted to see from this bit, because all they seem to drink on Peaky Blinders is whiskey. So you would think that the official beer of the TV, something like that, you know.
Very expensive to make, though, I imagine.
maybe not. I don't know. Thornbridge is pretty big right now. So I would maybe make if I was going to make a beer for a fictional character, I would probably go for. It would be cool to see if you could get Superman drunk. So I would be the official beer of Superman and make like an absolutely turbo-powered barley wine.
Okay.
And see if Superman could get drunk.
I wouldn't. I would go, I think that I would try and make beer something that it's not famous for being. And I would go for the Godfather, the one and only Godfather. And what I'll say is there are so many different beers that have come up with that name. I know there are, like there's all the burgers, like there's all the desserts. I don't think any of them have done it justice. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they have.
Give us a shout.
I would do, like, I don't know if you've tried the Dog G, Dog E, Dog C. Those Imperial Stouts by Brewdog that are so winey.
Whoa.
I'd go as far as to colour it as well. I would.
So you'd
I know
make
that's sacrilege,
a
but
red wine beer for Don Corleone.
I would make a red wine beer for Don Corleone.
And would it be Vito Corleone or Michael Corleone?
Oh, it'd be Vito.
Big V.
I'm not going for some secondary sub-level. Going straight into
your answer to that, considering I knew the question was coming, your answer to that was much better than mine. So, Shelby gets an English IPA, Superman gets a barley wine, Vito gets a red wine beer. Okay, then let's sum this up. Let's knock Shelby on the head. Not Tom Shelby.
No, with a razor blade, without the razor.
Without the razor blade. Let's sum this up. So, what we've got here is a, I say deep amber, you say light amber.
Light amber.
We've got an amber beer with not a lot of aroma, but now that it's warmed up, as I always say,
it's very lagery.
No, I think you're almost getting a peachy aroma, a subtle peach. No? Okay. I'm not
sure.
Subtle peach aroma, but not...
Who knows? No sense of smell is a symptom of COVID, so...
You're not supposed to mention COVID.
Sorry.
So, peach on the nose, and but not really a lot else in the aroma.
No.
The taste?
Crisp. Bitter.
It's crisp-ish. There is a bitterness to it, but my overarching thing with the flavour is the breadiness.
Okay.
The breadiness and the subtle sweetness. If I were to say, if someone asked me what's Shelby like, I'd say it's quite bready. It's a little bit sweet. No, but it's nice because I think that's what you need to make a really good English IPA. You do need that in there with the balanced bitterness. Like I said, it's not super bitter, it's not mouth puckering, but it's just bitter enough to combat that sweetness to make sure that it's not too much. It's
balanced. It's really well balanced,
yeah.
I would say. It's got that perfect level of everything. It's very inoffensive, and I mean inoffensive in a very nice way.
Except for the bottle. No.
Except for Peaky Blinders' Birmingham accent.
Yeah, I mean, let's forget about the Peaky Blinders thing for now, because I think we've drilled that home. It's a bit of a weird thing that Thornbridge have done, sponsoring a TV show, or having a TV show sponsor them. I don't know which way around it is. But the beer itself is decent, I think.
Very nice.
So I'm going to rate it. I'm going to rate it on a scale of 0 to 10. And as I do that, I'm going to think, is it a deep amber beer? Does it have gentle maltiness? Does it have a lemon pith bitterness? Does it have stone fruit aromas like the brewery said that it would? I think that by and large it does.
Okay.
You disagree?
I think coming at it from the perspective of, I think they've shot themselves in the foot being Thornbridge and trying to build another Thornbridge beer. It's very different from the other Thornbridge beers. It's very nice, but I wouldn't say it was as flavoursome. I wouldn't say there's any soft fruit in this. Okay,
so on a scale of 0 to 10, bearing those things in mind, and comparing this to other English IPAs, available in bottles for, this was, I think it was £1.25 for a bottle of this.
Bargain.
I'm going to give it a come down with me 7.
Okay.
Because it's pretty good. There's nothing offensive about this, like you say. It does meet most of the criteria. It has quite a strong maltiness. The stone fruit is only there if you really look for it. It is amber coloured, and the bitterness isn't really all there. So the brewery wrote a check it couldn't cash, but I think that doesn't matter because Thornbridge have still made a really good beer here to sell to the Shelby company. What do you think, Soph?
I would give it a 6 rather than a 7. I don't think 7's unfair though. I think it's a very nice beer that is a good addition to any sort of evening of drinks.
Okay, cool. So we got a 7 and a 6. So guys, I reckon you go out there, try and find a Shelby because
before they go.
Because this smacks to me of a Father's Day present that was left over and is still on the shelves. Maybe that's not true. Like I say, it seems to be a
You'd be getting yourself a bargain if it is.
So head down to Aldi, where I got this from. Grab yourself a bottle of Shelby, and as you listen to this, stick on Gangster's Paradise, because this is all about gangsters. We're all gangsters here, drinking traditional English
I'll sign up to that.
IPA.
I don't sign up to that.
Until then, guys. Sophie, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.